In Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, after Obi-Wan had tracked Jango Fett to the plane of Geonosis, he was captured by Count Dooku and the Trade Federation, where today our story starts. Which is, what if Obi-Wan Kenobi joined Count Dooku in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones? Obi-Wan is being held in a prison known as the Geonosian Containment Field when Count Dooku walks in, and while he was still walking in the door, Obi-Wan blurts out, "Traitor!" As Count Dooku says, "Oh no, my friends, this is a mistake, a terrible mistake. They have gone too far. This is madness. I thought you were the leader here, Dooku." He brushes off the question and says, "This has nothing to do with me, I assure you. I will petition immediately to have you set free." Well, I hope it doesn't take too long. I have work to do. When after asking how Kenobi got there, Dooku says, "It's a pity our paths have never crossed before, Obi-Wan. Your master talks so highly of you." When he added somberly, "I wish he was still alive. I could really use his help right now." As Kenobi says, "Qui-Gon Jinn would have never joined you," as Dooku reminds him that Qui-Gon was once his apprentice, as Kenobi once was Qui-Gon's. As Dooku says, "He would have joined me if he had learned the truth as I have." Then Kenobi asked, "The truth?" "The truth." And after a little silence, Dooku begins by saying, "What if I told you that the Republic was now under the control of the Dark Lord of the Sith?" Kenobi, intrigued, asks, "If so, wouldn't the Jedi be aware of it?" "The dark side has clouded the vision, my friend. Hundreds of senators are now under the influence of a Sith Lord named Darth Sidious." As the room fell silent again. As Dooku interrupted the silence by telling Obi-Wan about how the Viceroy had once been in league with this Dark Lord, and had been betrayed, and had come to Dooku for help, Kenobi asks, "What about it?" "He told me everything. You must join me, Obi-Wan, and together we can destroy the Sith." Kenobi, intrigued by this, said, "I'll think about it. But first, I need you to get me out of this cell." "It may be difficult to secure your release, but I assure you, I will try my best." Obi-Wan was confused, but before he had much time to think about it, two Geonosians came in and tased him. The next thing he knew, he was waking up in a big arena with thousands of Geonosians seated. And then he realized that he was tied up to a pole by a metal chain, with his lightsaber in his pocket. As he looked up to find Dooku, he saw him, looking directly at him. When he felt his lightsaber being picked up and dropped, Obi-Wan realized that he was telling him to use the lightsaber. "Dooku must have given it to me. It must not be allowed for him to keep it a secret." As Obi-Wan smiles and nods his head, Dooku does the same. As Kenobi looks over, he sees two other pillars, but before he could even wonder who they were for, he sees Anakin and Padme coming to him. As Kenobi says, "I was beginning to wonder if you've got my message." As Anakin says, "I retransmitted just as you requested, Master. Then we decided to come and rescue you." As Obi-Wan looks to his chains and down and says, "Good job. But I have a secret weapon that might be useful to getting us out." When the gates open and the monsters run out, the battle is quick, because Obi-Wan, with the help of his lightsaber skills, kills all three of them with ease. The crowd is now angry and chanting something that Obi-Wan doesn't understand, but knows it is not good. When he sees a Republic ship coming down with clone troopers, as Yoda says, "Late, I hope we are not." And Obi-Wan answers him by saying, "No, just in time. Something was about to go down in here." As thousands of battle droids walk out of the tunnels the beast came out of, the Jedi and Padme hop on and they fly away. When they are stopped by a big round ship that are used as transporters, so Yoda uses comlink and said, "Shoot down the core ships you must." When they got to the ground, where the main part of the action was, Anakin saw Dooku's ship and pointed it out to Obi-Wan. And Anakin told the pilot to follow Dooku's ship, but to do it secretly. When they arrive at what they supposed to be Dooku's base of operations, they realize that Dooku knew that they were following him, and as Dooku says, "Come to kill me, I suppose, Jedi." "I would certainly like to," says Anakin. "I know you would. You are foolish as you are weak, young boy, but today you shall breathe your last." As Anakin, fueled with hatred, runs over to Dooku, their battle begins. Obi-Wan is still collecting his thoughts. As he runs over, he is immediately thrown back by Dooku. Anakin and Dooku were dueling very intensely in the side seat. As Obi-Wan gets up, he runs back to help Anakin, but this time Dooku turns around and slices his leg as he falls to the ground in agony. When he finally looks up again, he sees Anakin on his knees with his hands cut off as Dooku says, "You fought valiantly, but now the only way to save yourself is to join me." As he turns to Obi-Wan, he continues by saying, "You must join me as well, and we can destroy the Sith. I am more powerful than anyone in the galaxy, besides one man. That is the Dark Lord of the Sith, Darth Sidious. If you join me, I will have a chance to destroy him and have peace once and for all. Anakin looks at Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan looks at Anakin, and Obi-Wan says, I will join you, Dooku. I believe what you have told me about the corruption in the Senate and the Jedi Order. As Anakin looks at Obi-Wan in awe, but then he says, I will join you. If my master believes in you, I believe in you. As the trio is about to leave, Yoda walks in, and he sees them leaving, but he feels something is off. Where's Obi-Wan, and where's Anakin? Yoda left and told the council that he had feared that Dooku had killed them, and that he was even more powerful than they could have ever dreamed of. As Anakin got his new cybernetic hands, he and Obi-Wan learned more and more about the corruption in the galaxy, and about the Sith ways. They became like Dooku himself, a hybrid of dark and light, being in the dark side, but not being consumed by it. Obi-Wan and Anakin believed they had made the right choice, and they learned to use Force Lightning. Dooku taught them also how to use Form 2. Anakin combined it with his Form 5 and Obi-Wan with his Form 3, making Anakin a very aggressive fighter, Dooku being graceful and Obi-Wan in between. Dooku enjoyed training them, but the same could not be said about General Grievous. He hated that machine, but it was a very useful tool in destroying the Republic. But he did have to keep Anakin and Obi-Wan a secret from everyone until the time was right. As the Clone Wars raged on, the Republic has felt the loss of two of their most prized Jedi, and are on their heels, and one giant blow would defeat them, and end the war. When Grievous had gotten to Palpatine and captured him, bringing him to the ship known as the Invisible Hand. When Mace, Windu, Plo Koon, and Ahsoka Tano showed up easily making their way through the ship, when they find the Chancellor, they go to release him, and Dooku says, Your swords, please. We don't want to make a mess in front of the Chancellor. As Mace says, we will not be hostages to be bartered with, Dooku. I've been looking forward to this. You may come out now. As Obi-Wan and Anakin jump down as they ignite their blood-red lightsabers, as the Jedi stood shocked as Obi-Wan says, Hello there, and Anakin says, This is where the fun begins. As Dooku says, This will be a day long remembered. As both Sith and Jedi charge in. As blades clash, it is a very heated duel. It was a blur, with Mace versus Dooku, Plo versus Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka versus Anakin. The Jedi were outmatched in almost every category. Their skill with the blade, their force abilities, and power, even in their battle strategy. And before long, Anakin had beaten Ahsoka, as Obi-Wan had done the same with Plo. But Dooku and Mace were still going at it. Mace's use of a pod and Shatterpoint helps him keep about equal with the Sith Lord, and Anakin ran in to help, but is immediately pushed back by Mace as he says, My powers have doubled since last time we met, Count. Good, twice the pride, double the fool. As Dooku goes to slice his knee like he did to Obi-Wan when they fought in Geonosis, but it was blocked as Obi-Wan stabs Mace, killing him. As Palpatine gets up and says, You betrayed me, Dooku. Not a surprise, to be sure, but earlier than I predicted, and for that, you will die. As he shoots a blast of lightning at Dooku, as Obi-Wan jumps in the way, blocking it with his lightsaber, as Anakin jumps at Palpatine, igniting his, as Palpatine does the same. It's an intense fight for Anakin, as Palpatine was still only using one hand, while the other was still shooting lightning at Dooku, which Dooku, seeing the predicament they were in, tries to force push Palpatine, which works, and he goes flying across the room into the wall, as Palpatine stands up again, reigniting his lightsaber as he pulls another one, also igniting it. As they hear something coming from the hall, it sounds like multiple droids running, but they were going too fast, as Dooku says, Grievous. And there he was, more machine than man, the Jedi killer, General Grievous, as Palpatine says, Destroy them, General Grievous. As he says, With pleasure. As he coughs, then jumps down, igniting his 4 lightsabers. As he is force crushed into a ball and thrown at Sidious by Anakin and Obi-Wan, as Palpatine throws him aside and says, Impressive, most impressive. As Dooku gets up, Palpatine says, Now you will experience the full power of the dark side. As he shoots a barrage of lightning at Dooku, which again is blocked by Obi-Wan, but this is too much for him as he is shot back into the wall as Dooku runs at Palpatine. They begin to duel, and Dooku is falling behind, so he yells at Obi-Wan and Anakin, Leave, leave, save yourselves. As Anakin runs to get Obi-Wan, he screams, We will never forget you, Master. As he gets to the escape pod, he hears Palpatine's laugh echoing through the ship. As Anakin presses the button to eject and go into space, Obi-Wan wakes up and asks, Where's Dooku? And Anakin looks at him and says, He distracted the Emperor and told me to leave. When they land, they are somewhere on the surface of Coruscant. They find their way back to the Jedi Temple, but it was destroyed. It was in flames as they look upon it. What do we do now, Master? Anakin says. We must find Yoda and tell him of the truth if he has not already learned it. But wouldn't he kill us? We need to get him to trust us. As they look around for any survivors, they found out soon that there was none. Every Jedi in the temple was dead, but there was no sign of Yoda. Until they hear from behind them, back from the dead. As Obi-Wan and Anakin turn around, Obi-Wan says, we are with you. We want to kill the Emperor as well. Why? Because of what he has done and what he plans to do. Done, he has, what the Jedi could not. Peace he has brought. Peace? You call this peace? While he points to the temple on fire. He did it, you think. Incorrect you are. As he takes off his robe and pulls out his lightsaber, help being needed by an old friend. As he ignites his lightsaber, Anakin and Obi-Wan jump back, as it is blood red. As Anakin says, Master Yoda? Anymore, Master Yoda, I am not. Darth Sagius, I am now. As he leaps at them, they run as fast as they can, until they get to a ship and leave, jumping into hyperspace. Where are we going, Anakin? Somewhere safe, where we can rest up and train. And where is that? Tatooine. When they land, they spot a cave and decide to live there for the next little while, so they can train and not be charged by the Republic. They fight one another, learning new moves and new techniques, and at this point, aren't really Jedi or Sith, they are just the balance of both. They spent their days training and meditating, knowing that they would have to be the peak of their powers to defeat Yoda and Emperor Palpatine, also known as Darth Sagius and Darth Sidious. Then one day in the middle of meditation, Obi-Wan had a vision of an old rival, and said, Anakin, yes, Master, I just had a vision. What was it about? The Sith on Naboo that I killed 12 years ago. He's alive, and he's on the planet of Mandalore. He was screaming my name. I guess he wants revenge. He was also holding the dark saber. That's exactly it, Anakin said. We need to go there and get the dark saber from him so that way we can get the Mandalorians to join us and help us defeat the Sith. Since they are even more proficient than clones, they can deal with them while we deal with the Sith. Then Kenobi said, but who will fight Maul? You will have to, because he wants you, not me. We will leave tomorrow. When they arrive, they are shown to the throne room, and there he was, Darth Maul, in the flesh, as Kenobi says, hello there, and Maul says, Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi, finally came to see me, a surprise, but a welcome one. I have come for the dark saber. I wish to duel you for it, unless you're willing to join us, of course. Join you? Why do you need the dark saber? We are here for an army to help us defeat the Sith to restore order to the galaxy. I will never join you. Do you know what you did to me, Obi-Wan? I hate you! Then a duel it is, as Obi-Wan ignites his lightsaber and says, you'll move. As Maul ignites both his red single-bladed lightsaber and his dark saber and says, the rules are, only you versus me, till the death, or until someone gives up. Understood? I understand, and may the best man win. Maul hated that and snarled at Obi-Wan as they began their duel. Obi-Wan realized that this duel would be harder than expected. Maul's quickness was unlike anything he had seen before, and his strength, all powered by his hatred. But Kenobi knew the easiest way to win is to make him overextend himself, because of his over-aggressiveness. Obi-Wan played defensively, because he is Form 3, but when there was no opening, he used Form 2 and started on the offense, quickly and precisely attacking Maul. Maul was confused by this, but was not giving up any ground. So Obi-Wan used a force push, pushing him back a little ways, as Obi-Wan says, I defeated you once, I can do it again. As Maul says, you fool, you will die. As Maul rushes in, Obi-Wan thought he could get an opening this time, but still, there was none. He was starting to get tired, and Maul was extremely aggressive, spinning and using both sabers to their best potential. He was very proficient. But Obi-Wan thought, but what about his force abilities? Is he efficient with those? As Obi-Wan jumps over Maul and puts his lightsaber away and unleashes his Force Lightning using both of his hands, shooting Maul back and his weapons falling out of his hands. As Obi-Wan force pushes them out of the way, and he sends another lightning barrage at Maul, which he dodges and force pushes Obi-Wan. Maul force pushes his weapons back to him as he charges at Obi-Wan, who does the same, igniting his and blocking Maul at the last second. As Obi-Wan gets up, they begin their duel again, as Maul throws his lightsaber at Obi-Wan, which he grabs out of mid-air and throws it back at Maul, where it stabs him in the chest, killing him. As he falls down dead, Obi-Wan lifts up the darksaber in victory as he whispers, so uncivilized. As all the Mandalorians bow, Anakin says, good job, Master. Now we are one step closer to destroying the Sith. No, my young Padawan, we are one step closer in bringing peace to the galaxy, once more. It's not about destroying, it's about creating, and what we will create is a thriving galaxy full of hope and peace. After Yoda's altercation with Obi-Wan and Anakin, he went to Emperor Palpatine and said, "Alive, the two Jedi still are, master and apprentice." As the Emperor says, "Ah, the cowards. Anakin and Obi-Wan will be dealt with soon enough. First, I need you to go to the Mustafar system and take out the Separatists. Done, it will be my master." As Yoda arrives and takes care of the Separatists, by the end being almost fully consumed by the dark side, he loved this feeling of power, but there was always something lingering of the Jedi way that he had lived with so long before. He joined Palpatine so he could spare the lives of every system, and that he could never endanger any civilians. More powerful I am than any Jedi or Sith has ever been, and destroy the Chancellor and rule the galaxy. Secure peace, I must. Meanwhile on Mandalore, Obi-Wan says, "We will destroy the Chancellor. We will secure peace for everyone on any and every planet." As everyone cheers, "We will leave tomorrow at noon." Back at Palpatine's office, Yoda had just finished wiping out the Separatists, and had reported back to Palpatine, when Palpatine said, "I felt a shift in the Force. Have you felt it, my apprentice?" "Felt it, I have. The feeling. Heard people cheering, I have. Fear I do the Jedi's return." "Do not fear. We will be ready." As the time drew near, Anakin and Obi-Wan had just finished telling the Mandalorians what the plan was. As Obi-Wan says, "Any questions?" As one of the Mandalorians asked, "Where are you two going to be?" "We will take care of the Sith with a small group of our finest warriors. Does anyone want to volunteer?" As no one raised their hand, until someone did. She came to the front, as Obi-Wan said, "Bo-Katan Kryze, it's an honor." As she said, "Me and my group will join you." "Then it is settled. Pack your gear, it is time to leave." As they traveled, it was quiet in the ship, and everyone was still, as Obi-Wan came out of the cockpit and goes to Anakin and says, "Don't be afraid, my young friend. We will win, if that is what the Force allows. Be strong, be brave, and most of all, don't think, just do. Use your instincts." As Anakin says, "Yes, master." "No," Obi-Wan says, "I am your master, but first, I'm your friend." As he hugs Anakin. As they walk to the back of the ship to meditate, this was a battle meditation, getting their mind balanced, putting their emotions in check, and thinking about the living Force. As Mandalorian comes in and says, "We are here." As Obi-Wan gets up and walks back to the main part of the ship, he says, "Get your bodies ready and get your weapons ready, but most importantly, get your minds ready. You must be ready for anything, especially Bo-Katan and your squad. You will have to be strong, because those Siths are two of the most powerful beings ever." "We will be ready." "I know you will be." He turns to Anakin and puts his arm on him and says, "You will have to fight with me, and be as of one mind and spirit, for us to have a chance of destroying the Sith. Do you understand?" "Yes, I do, my old friend." As they embrace each other, they say they love each other like brothers. As the ship lands at the Senate building, there is no one there. "Strange," Anakin says. "I expect there to be hundreds of clones. We must have caught them by surprise." "Or," Obi-Wan says, "it's a trap." Always the negative one. As they move forward into the building, still there is no one in sight, as Obi-Wan tells the big group of Mandalorians to go up to the big Senate room. As the rest of them are about to get to the Chancellor room, Obi-Wan says, "Are you ready?" The Mandalorians say, "Ready as we'll ever be," as they hear blaster fire above, and then screams as Obi-Wan says, "Join them, we can take care of ourselves." As the Mandalorians leave, Anakin says, "I have a bad feeling about this," as Obi-Wan asks Anakin, "Are you ready?" "Ready to save the galaxy? I guess so." "Then here we go." As the door opens, there he is. But it was only Yoda. As Obi-Wan says, "Hello there. Where is your master?" "Like your master he has become. Rule I do now." As Anakin says, "Liar! He is not to be trusted." "Agreed. Fast this fight will be. Places I need to go." "It will be fast for you. You will be remembered, Master Yoda." As Yoda charges in, their blades bounce off of one another's. Anakin is being aggressive, trying to match Yoda's level of aggressiveness, while Obi-Wan takes it slower, playing to his own strengths. As Yoda starts to taunt Anakin, he says, "Use your anger, you must. Defeat me without it, you will not." "Don't listen to him, Anakin. Like you said, he is not to be trusted." But Anakin didn't speak a word, looked very determined to win this duel, and to save the galaxy. As Yoda jumps back and shoots a flash of lightning, and Obi-Wan and Anakin block, as they do the same, as Yoda uses his hand to block it and full force throws it back at them. This caught them off guard, and they were electrocuted by the lightning, falling to the ground. As Obi-Wan jumps in front of Anakin, blocking the lightning, Anakin looks up and sees him there. As Anakin, fueled with rage, force pushes Yoda to the wall, runs up and stabs him in the chest, killing him. As they hear, "Now your journey to the dark side is complete. You are my apprentice now, chosen one." As a laugh echoes through the room. "Your little friends were no match for me." As he throws Bo-Katan's jetpack across the room, as it scrapes on the floor, he continues by saying, "The power of the dark side was too much for them, and which you have now embraced, my young apprentice. I can feel your anger. Strike me down, and you will become the new emperor of the galaxy." As Obi-Wan turns to Anakin, he starts to say something, as he gets blasted with Force lightning, as Anakin jumps in the way of the lightning, as Anakin says, "I am loyal to the Force, and to the Force only." As Anakin starts overpowering the Emperor, he walks towards him. As the Emperor stops shooting lightning, he says, "So be it, foolish Jedi. You will die like the rest of your friends, and I will rule the galaxy once and for all. And finally, there will be peace." As he laughs while igniting his lightsabers, and begins to duel Anakin, as Obi-Wan joins in, trying their best to keep up with Palpatine. But he was a red blur. For even the highly trained duelists that Anakin and Obi-Wan were, they were outmatched in almost every category. His speed, his IQ was off the charts. He fought in a different way that they had ever been used to. Till they thought of the only way to beat the Sith Lord is to use the only thing he doesn't have against him. So they calmed themselves and tried to fully commune with the Force, becoming one with it. As both of them open their eyes, they see the others as if it were on fire. A blue flame was emitting from their eyes, and they felt as one. As they began to strike back against Palpatine, their attacks are in unison, in harmony, like a dance or song. It was perfect, every hit landing where it was intended to go. As they force push him to the wall, Palpatine uses his Force lightning, which seems not even to affect them, as they were unstoppable. They were one with the Force. As they block Palpatine's lightning, they push it back at him, as he gives up and says, "Please, let me go. I'm a foolish, weak, old man." As Anakin and Obi-Wan are deciding what to do, they hear. It was a small lightsaber. It was Yoda's lightsaber, penetrating Palpatine, killing him. As they hear Yoda fall down, dead. "We were wrong about one thing, Anakin." "And what was that, Master?" "He was to be trusted. For not what he said, but for what he did." As they have a burial ceremony for Master Yoda, they tell tales of old times when the galaxy was like it was now, a happy place filled with joyous songs and singing. The end. Hope you enjoyed What If Obi-Wan joined Dooku on Geonosis in Attack of the Clones. Also, check out this video. It's What If Jorah Sabayoth trained Anakin Skywalker. If you enjoyed this video, you'll enjoy that video too. As always, thanks for watching and have a great day.